Hey everyone, how's it going? It is I, the real Randy Chavez, coming at you today with a Veve OMI update video. Guys, if you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. I love y'all. Everyone say hello to Dashi. Hello, Dashi. Commenting, liking, and subscribing is a free way to help support the channel. Non-free ways are Patreon and smashing that super thanks button down below. That's all good. So before I get into some of the news and the thumbnail and everything, I just kind of want to go over one of the questions I had in my last live stream, which was not too long ago, it was a few hours ago. It said, Chavez, we just had this really big announcement with Marvel, and I know something's there, but not a ton of people talk about it positively. I mean, there are, but there's a loud minority of fudders. And then the OMI token is like, why hasn't the OMI token moved? Well, amongst all this, despite people not being able to see the forest for the trees are in the way, we are having a pretty decent pullback on crypto. It's not just OMI. Bitcoin is down 6%, Ethereum is down over 6%, BNB is down 7%, Solana is actually up 1% over the last 24 hours. Lido Staked is down over 6%, XRP is down 5%, Cardano is down 9%, Dogecoin is down 13%, Shiba Inu is down 16%, Polkadot's down 10%. I could go on and on and on. So we're actually outperforming a lot of the top 20 by not being as down as the rest of them are, by only being down about 9%. We are still at 00087. We have a couple people saying like, hey, this kind of always happens. When are we going to break that resistance? We've kind of had that like triple top of the 0012, and we haven't really been able to break that. Give us a few weeks on that. Give the team a few weeks. You have a OMI Season 2 staking rewards. The article is going to come out in a couple of weeks, and then we're actually going to get that in April. And then OMI to NFT will likely be in Q2. I don't expect that in the next couple weeks. I'm really hoping that's April. If they can do that, great. If not, they'll roll it out in May or June, but I'm really expecting Q2. And then you have OMI to bronze tickets as well, which should come right after. So you do have a lot of catalysts. You do have a lot of things that's going to get a lot of tailwinds, going to be really good. And then in the next month or so, you likely have a bunch of other whales. And then you have the halving. So everything's going to go crazy with that. Obviously, it's not financial advice. Anything can go to zero with little to no notice. But I'd also kind of like to say that there are people that aren't taking this Marvel Comics news. They're not interpreting that correctly. Where Marvel said, like, hey, we very well could have gone on and rolled this out on the Marvel Unlimited platform for 250,000 users, saying, hey, we're going to roll this out. You're now going to be able to read everything the day of. Nobody's ever had that before. But Marvel Unlimited users are really just relegated to the US. I think it might just be the West, where you might have Canada on there as well. You might not, I don't know, ask a Canadian, ask Foster Hill, ask Mark Quinn, ask My Collectibles, ask Chad from NFT Pirates. They might know better. But I think it's really just the US, and Marvel Comics is just a global brand. Especially now, thanks to the MCU, the past 16 years already. Yeah, especially now, thanks to the MCU, it's a global brand, so people are going to want to read this in South Africa. They're going to want to read it in Singapore, China, like all in the East, everywhere. And how they go and do that is not with a new Marvel Comics app. It's with a Veve Comics app. So I think a lot of people are just upset that they kind of botched the rollout a little bit, and that's what people are just kind of upset about in the moment. And the attention really hasn't turned to really how positive this is, where Marvel's just handing the keys to the comic book store to Veve. And it's so strange. They have an exclusive agreement with Veve saying we'll only sell Marvel NFTs, whether it's the comics or the collectibles, the mighties, with you guys. But Vive's not exclusive the other way. It's not a Marvel Comics website. It's a Veve Comics website. So I think at some point in the future, you do get Dark Horse, you do get Image Comics. I really think you get DC Comics as well. I'm sure that, I think they're over in Candy. They probably have some form of revenue. I don't know if that's each week, but definitely every month. They're not making what Marvel Comics is making. Just the community's not there. The money isn't there. The people aren't there. It's all on Veve. So I do suspect them signing with Veve at some point. Whether it's this CEO, whether they bring in a new CEO, whatever happens. Again, that's just my own theory. I mean, if you go to ask a team that, they'll be like, no. They'll probably be like, no, the conversations might not have even happened yet. But again, that's just my thought. Moving on to some other news here. You have Decrypt, which has 169,000 followers over on X. Everyone comment nice down below with 69. They had gone on and said it's a comic readers app, but Veve Official also sells limited edition NFT versions of popular titles from Marvel. So we had some nice exposure there. There's been a lot of reasons for people to go on and buy. We don't exactly know how many of these comics. I think there are like 300,000 new ones that people were able to get as NFTs. I'm certain like a third of that had sold out, which would be nice. Maybe about an extra $70,000, give or take. Or I'm sorry, about $700,000, give or take. But I don't know exactly how many there are. I know only a few comics sold out, but there are others that have not sold out, but they've still sold. But I don't think you can track it on Immutable X right now. I think Google is now finally able to use a database. But until they go and they say sold out, we get official numbers from Veve. This is all just kind of estimation at this point. Outside of emailing their 250,000 Marvel Unlimited users, Marvel went out and posted about us with their 18 million followers on X, and they had sent a second follow-up email to everyone that had bought those comics, saying like, hey, not only can Marvel Unlimited users now use the Veve Comics app, but anyone that bought a Veve comic on the Veve Comics app or on the website, they're eligible for 2 months free for Marvel Unlimited. They're just kind of sharing that audience there. But I see in my messages and in my comments, people spending hundreds, some spending thousands of dollars in these comics. And I've gotten this before. People saying like, okay, well, Chavez, a bunch of people have said before that these new comics that we're getting, they're kind of D-tier comics. Why are they going and selling on the secondary marketplace on Veve for higher than these A-tier comics? Well, you have the A-tier comics on Veve, which have 30,000 mints, 20,000, 10,000, 7,500, 5,000 mints. I think a Tarzan or two might have 3,500. But for the most part, there's a very healthy amount of mints out there. But for the new Marvel comics, there aren't. There's 980 of them for each one. So I'll go and I'll compare this to Pokemon. I mentioned this on my last live stream, but I'm going to talk about this every day. You have people that ask anyone that loved the OG Pokemon, or even the first two generations. The first two generations of Pokemon was 250, 251. Which ones do people like? What are their favorites? Just ask anyone that are OG masters. I guarantee you they go and name two. If they can name all of them, they probably name 200, 230. They probably name most of them before they name Yamna. It's a small little dragonfly Pokemon. Nobody likes it. It's not on anybody's team. It's not. I don't know how they made it a holo in Neo Revolution, but they did. And everyone knows Ash's team. Butterfree, Pidgeot, Pikachu, Snorlax, all that. Everyone knows Misty's team. Everyone knows Brock's. Everyone knows who has what on the show. Yanma has never been a part of anybody's team ever. And why do I bring this up? Chavez, what are you going on about here? You could take a first edition PSA 10 holo Pidgeot, on Ash's team. He caught Pidgeotto, but evolved to a Pidgeot. Spoilers. You could take the legendary birds, Moltres, Zapdos, Articuno, their first edition PSA 10 holo versions. Yeah, they might go for several hundred, a couple thousand. Well, why does Yanma, a Pokemon that nobody gives a second thought to, why is the floor of that $12,000 on eBay right now? Why have the last couple of sales been in the several thousands of dollars? Why is it 5 figures? It's because the other ones were they're all minted at the same rate. They all had one mint run, but it's very hard to grade. So there's only 14 PSA 10 first edition Yanmas that are holo, where there are dozens, if not hundreds, of the others. And it's all about that scarcity. You could have something that's rare and not scarce. You could have something that's scarce but not rare, but that is scarce. So when you have all of these comics, out of 980 of them, those are pretty rare. But then you have on top of that, not all of them selling out, and you only have a small amount of the supply over on the secondary market. People are going to FOMO. People are going to poolside. So you have that, and there's a lot of money going into the ecosystem because people are paying now with fiat. They're not paying with gems. We haven't really been able to pay with OMI, but that'll come at some point. They're paying with their credit card. You might be able to pay with a PayPal credit card, I think, as well. But they're paying with a debit or credit card, and they're going in and they are adding money to that ecosystem, and then people are selling with gems. It's really cool. But that's kind of why you have that that arbitrage there. You could buy something for $7 and buy something on a not good Veve comic or Marvel comic on Veve, prior to this. That'll sell for like a common, sell for like $2. So you can go and get just a better rate of return on these, that there's only 980 of them, so they're scarce in general. If you get that secret rare, I sold a secret rare Gwen Stacy comic. It was like a number 3 comic. Again, these are D-tier comics. For like $137. Why? Because there's only 40 of them. And I paid $7 for it. And even if I got the common, I would have been able to sell it for $5 and not $2. So it's just a better chance at getting either a decent amount of your money back or making a lot. So that's just something I wanted to go over as well. All right, I'll get to the thumbnail right now. I probably should have gone over this earlier, but I didn't. That's my B. Biscuits had gone over, and first off, me and Biscuits, I don't think have ever had a bad interaction. Obviously, when you're in a community for so long, you will go in and people are like condiments. You can have some really cool mixtures like peanut butter and jelly. Goes together very well. But then you could have other condiments that maybe, nothing's wrong with them separately, but then they go together and maybe it's not a good taste. People are like that. I feel like I get along with most people. I feel like Biscuits probably gets along with most people. But every now and then you have a couple of people that say like, oh, I don't like Chavez for whatever reason, right? But I'm just letting y'all know, me and Biscuits, I don't think have ever had a bad conversation. I think it's been mostly positive for us. So I'm just throwing that out there first. Biscuits says, they're doing a good job at completely trying to separate OMI from Veve. Both made by the same company, Ecomi used to pitch Veve. OMI doesn't make sense without Veve, yet they're trying to act like the two are completely separate. I hope there's an AMA soon. And this comes from the question, or it just comes from the notion that we're not able to use OMI on the new Veve Comics app, or the new Veve Comics website. And she's right, or people are right. We're not able to use OMI there. And on the surface, it looks like, okay, we have something else that's really cool that's happening, but we're not even allowed to use gems. We're just using fiat. It seems like we're kind of moving away from OMI here. And you have a lot of fudders. You have a lot of people say like they're abandoning the token, and they're just lying. You don't go and hire a whole blockchain team. You don't go and have a new Discord made. You don't go and hire a new community manager if you're abandoning a token. And you don't have Ecomi going out and saying, hey, accessibility to the token is a priority this year. We got a new exchange. They're not spending this money. They're not spending this energy for them to just walk away from the token. Anyone that says like they're abandoning it, they either, mostly they're probably just lying, or they are saying that because they don't know what they're talking about, or they're misinformed, or they got correct information, but they're just interpreting it in the just absolute wrong and worst way. But that's not what Biscuit's saying here. She's just saying, hey, it looks like there's a disconnect, and she's just wondering why. There's an article that came out last month about OMI to NFT, saying like, hey, that is our first priority. That is the next thing that's coming for OMI. Now, again, you are going to have that OMI staking season 2 rewards article that'll come out first. That's fine. But the big utility for OMI is that OMI to NFT. So even though that these comics right now, that you can only pay for them in fiat, once they get on the app, you can buy them in the secondary with gems. That's fine. But I believe that they're doing this for a bunch of reasons. One, this is probably one of the biggest days, or 2 days ago was one of the biggest days in comic book history. And I don't think anyone really realizes that yet, because you have a bunch of these people from Marvel Unlimited are going to come in. You're going to have people from the world that wanted Marvel Unlimited, but were not able to get Marvel Unlimited because they didn't offer it in their country or in their area in the world. Now they're able to do it through Veve Comics. So you're going to have a lot more people coming in. So that's a big user base. And if something sold out, let's say like Spider-Boy #1, that sold out. Okay, get it on the app. And they could go through the process of using gems, or they can go through the process of eventually using OMI. When you have OMI to NFT, they could do that. Or if they have a couple things that they bought for fiat, And let's say going to an exchange to get OMI, if they didn't offer in your area, maybe it was a little complicated. In New York or in the US, yeah, it's kind of complicated to get OMI. But eventually, if they have OMI available on the web app, it's very easily accessible. But again, if you have a couple things and you want to get OMI and just want to sell for OMI, you'll be able to do that. So I think it's about getting the users, and then once the users get on and they get comfortable and they like it, and then they'll explore other options about OMI. So I will throw out, it's not a bet, it's not a challenge, but it's just something fun. I think that before the end of the year, more than half of the transactions on the secondary market on Veve are going to use OMI. Is that going to burn anything? Is that going to go to the gem liquidity pool? We don't know now. We haven't gotten that article yet. When we get that, I will be sure to do a bunch of lives and I'll do a video. I'll do all that stuff on it. But as of right now, I think that's where we're going. So just kind of piggyback or follow up on that. When Biscuit says like it doesn't make sense without Veve, yet they are trying to act like the two are completely separate. I think that this is just the process that they have to do. If you go in and tell people, hey, you can do these things, but you have to use OMI, or, and I don't know, that's not what she's saying, but I think it's better for them to go and get comfortable with the process of a digital collectible first, because that's still very foreign to people. I think that would be a lot easier to get them comfortable first, and then have them on the app, and then have them introduced to OMI in one way or another. I think that some people also forget that the CEO and COO of this company have massive OMI bags. And if they were to go and really try to separate it or try banning the token, they'd be robbing themselves out of billions of dollars. So again, if you want to go and say, I'm never going to say that. If you want to go and say what's the most likely outcome, well, yes, they're working on OMI utility just because, well, for a bunch of reasons. One is because the community deserves it, but also, if I was CEO, I'd be doing the same exact thing. Hey, it's going to be really good for me if we get some good OMI utility on here and everybody wants it. We're going to market it. We'll do whatever. Because, again, that's just going to behoove myself. Moving on. In other news, when it comes to anime, Japanese culture, I'm a casual fan. I got horse tattooed on me. I have a Dragon Ball Z Royal Saiyan Crest logo on me. Really, it was White Day a couple days ago. Really, really enthralled with that culture. So I did a purchase yesterday it cost me $539, but I got the Lucky Rosso Gold. It's because there's only 80 of them. People in Asia really, again, the year of the dragon. I was born the year of the horse, but they're really into the Chinese zodiac. Even people in Japan are in the Chinese zodiac. They all use it. And I love the stories. I love the fact that it's scarce. I sold a couple things for it, and then I added some money in for it. That's something that I really like. Again, not trying to pump it, just letting you guys know my moves and my reasonings for those moves. I am no longer a master collector, though. There are a couple of people like Bruce Clark Kent over on X that says like, hey, I was right at the cusp of being a master collector. I've already put 6 figures in. I might as well put a couple grand more to maintain that master collector status. I am not doing that right now. My extra money is going to go a little bit more into crypto, outside of that Lucky Dragon, and I'm just going to do I'll be happy being a Diamond 1 for now. And if that changes in the future and I'm back to master, cool. If not, no big deal. But there are people that are spending thousands of dollars being like, hey, going to be a master collector. I think in the future, you might not need to spend that much. I think in the future, you could just go and take some OMI, convert it to bronze tickets, and use those bronze tickets and swap them for MCP points and make yourself a master really anytime you want to. And people will do that, and that's going to burn a lot of OMI, and I can't wait for it. But again, this is how addictive this is. This is how much status means to a couple people. Spending thousands of dollars just to get like a digital thing that says you're a master. That Veve is very highly addictive. They did announce Star Wars as well. I'll probably do a whole video or live stream on this. They announced Stormtroopers, and they were going to have like almost 15,000 of those. And in total between the common and the secret rare, it'll be over 15,000. Veve will gross 153,000 on that day, and that's just in the primary markets. It's not including the secondary. Veve, God, more money for them means more money in the war chest, more things that they could do with the token, more things that they could do with licensors, with exchanges. I'm all in. Get to about 20 minutes, so that'll be it for me today. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Comments are good for the YouTube algorithm. Everyone say bye-bye to Dashi. Bye-bye, Dashi. I love you guys. Goodbye. Meow, 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 meow.